What is up, you guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Mackenzie. If you're not new, thank you for coming back. So today's video, I'm sure you've seen the title, we're going to be making a 3D mirrored star. So we're going to be making another project out of this book. If you haven't seen my last video, go check that out. I picked up a couple books from Amazon, these stained glass books, and started making projects out of them. So if you haven't seen the first one, go check that one out first. Then come back here because y'all voted hardcore for the mirrored star. Overwhelming majority, you guys wanted to see this mirrored star, and I think that's for a couple reasons. So like I said, it's a mirrored star, and yes, the design is pretty cool, but I also think you guys wanted to see it because it's mirrored, and mirrored is notoriously tricky to work with. I'm going to be working with mirrored, but not a normal mirror. I'm going to use this really pretty teal mirror that I have, which if you guys watch my stained glass shopping videos, then you guys have seen it. So we're going to be making that 3D star out of this book today. If that sounds like something you're into, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. Alrighty guys, so here is our three-dimensional star. Looks pretty simple, and it is. It's all just one shape. The only thing that I am going to say is that we do need to be as precise as possible. So because all of these shapes need to be the exact same size and even on every edge, because it won't work. They won't sit together flat if we aren't very, very precise. So easy, shapes are easy. We just need to be as precise as we possibly can. You need all of your basic glass cutting materials. This is the glass I'm going to be using today. So this is a antique teal mirrored glass. You can use any mirror you want or any glass that you want. I'm just going to use that teal because I think it's a pretty color. So I've already pulled the stencil out of the back of the book and I've printed it out. I photocopied it at 141%. So I'm just going to quickly laminate and then cut out these shapes before we get started. So assuming you guys have seen my last video, I don't want to make this intro super long as well. We're just gonna get started. Alrighty guys, so I've got my stencils cut out and laminated just so it's a little bit easier to trace them, because if you don't laminate them in any type of way, as you're tracing the outside, sometimes that flexible paper will bend and mess your stencil up. So it's just a whole lot easier to give it some sort of structure, and it will keep its shape a lot easier. So as you can see in step 1, it says we need 4 of the large pieces and 20 of the smaller pieces. So just so I remember that, I mark out 20 on the small and 4 on the large. So again, number 1, it says enlarge the pattern on page 164 to the correct size. Place the pattern on the reflective surface of the glass and draw around it with a felt tip pen. So let's move our book out of the way. And if you need to use a ruler to keep those edges straight, then absolutely do that. I am going to start tracing out all of my smaller squares first, since I need a whole lot more of them, and then I will do the larger 4 at the very end. Alrighty guys, so I've got all 24 of my pieces traced out. So now I'm just gonna clear everything out of the way and score and cut them all out now. So if you guys have any questions about actually cutting glass, I have specific videos on my channel on how to cut glass. I do want to do some updated videos to those basics, but I know you guys are dying to see some more advanced techniques, so I'm going to wait on that for a little bit. But all I'm doing is dipping my cutter in my cutting oil. So I put it in this little tiny Belief jar because it's just a lot easier to handle the cutting oil when it's not in a huge open container. So I just put a little piece of paper towel down inside this little jar so I can dip it in and get a little bit of oil when I need it. So for these larger, or for the pieces that have more stencils on them, I'm going to use my ruler to cut that straight edge down both of these sides first, break that score, and then cut all the sides out. I've never used it. I can't do that. I don't like using a straight edge or a ruler. I trust my hand. I'm just gonna go slow and steady. My head might come into frame here, so I apologize, but I need to be over the glass when really cutting such a straight line. Alrighty, so we've got all 24 of our pieces cut out right here. And on step 2, after we're done cutting, it says rub all the sides of the triangles gently with a silicone carbide stone. Then number 3, it says watch each piece of glass to remove any glass dust, then dry. Copper foil all the sides of the triangles. So that's next step. I'm going to take a little cup of water. I've got my carbide stone right here, and I'm just going to gently start smoothing out all the edges on all of our triangles. Then I'm going to take it over to the sink, give them a quick rinse, and then we'll come back. Glass mud everywhere. Okay guys, so that's it. Well, that only took me about 15 minutes, but we ground all of our edges. Now we need to rinse them off. So if you watch my last video, then you know you cannot take these directly to your sink. You cannot just dump glass mud down your sink. You're going to absolutely destroy your pipes. Cannot do that. So you need to get something called a glass bucket, which I will show you right now. You need to pre-rinse before you ever bring these to your actual sink. Okay, so this gross looking bucket is my glass mud bucket. So what I'm gonna do is just dip every single piece into this water, and then I can bring that piece over to the sink. So you've got to get all of this glass mud, all the glass shards off all of your glass. Then you can bring it over to your sink for one final rinse. You don't want any of that glass mud to be left over on these pieces. Like I said, that will absolutely destroy your sink and your drains. So I'm just going to rinse all of these pieces off, and then I will take it over to my sink, completely clean them with clean water, and then we're going to dry them completely. The key is to dry mirror completely. Alrighty guys, so I've got all 20 of my small pieces, all 4 of my big pieces. They are perfectly clean and dried off. But before we get into the next step of actually wrapping all these in copper foil, I want to just quickly touch on working with mirror. So I know working with mirror can be intimidating because of that dreadful mirror rot. And mirror rot is basically when the edges of the mirror start to turn black and brown and it seeps into the center of the mirror, absolutely destroying it. It no longer looks like a mirror, it just looks dull brown and splotchy. So it like spreads into the center, but it starts out as little brown splotches all around the edge, and it works its way in. Sometimes it's not bad, sometimes it's really bad. And unfortunately, there are mixed messages all over the internet. Everybody I've talked to kind of has a different idea on what mirror rot is and how it's caused. So I believe mirror rot is caused when moisture gets trapped underneath the edge of the copper foil and in between the mirror. So on the back side of the mirror, this backing, this gray backing you see right here, is what causes the mirror to look like a mirror. Now this is what starts to rot. So I've found the best way to avoid it, or to attempt to avoid it, is to keep that moisture out. So using as little bit of flux as possible, rinsing it quickly, making sure that we thoroughly dry every single step of the way, even when we're done. I'm not going to use anything like polish. I'm just going to do it as easily, simply as possible. Now, on that subject, there is something called mirror edge spray. Now, mirror edge spray is something you can spray on the edge of your mirror that supposedly seals it. I'd mentioned this in my last video, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't really believe in it. I don't think it does all that much, and it definitely does not ensure that your mirror is not gonna get mirror rot. So I don't wanna tell you guys that you guys have to go out and buy another product when I don't even fully know if it's foolproof. I don't believe it is. I've seen people use it and still have issues, including myself. So I don't use mirror edge sealant. I just try to avoid getting any moisture trapped inside that copper foil edge, and that's all you can really do. Beyond that, you just need to wait, and sometimes the mirror rot can show up in a month, sometimes it'll show up in 3 months. So it's just kind of trial and error. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. It is what it is. That's why most artists don't even like working with mirror in the first place. So now that we've got that out of the way, all we're gonna do is copper foil all of our edges. I'm going to be using a 732 black back copper foil, and we're just going to simply wrap them, making sure all of our edges are even on each side. Alrighty guys, so we have completely wrapped all 24 pieces of our triangles here. So we've wrapped. The next thing, we have to apply flux and tin solder each one of these pieces of glass separately. Then we're going to wash them again in warm soapy water and dry. So we've got to tin all the edges of all of these pieces. Now, like I said earlier, I think the issue, or one of the issues that causes mirror rot, is moisture getting trapped underneath the foil. So beyond heavily burnishing all of these foiled edges to make sure they're really stuck down, I'm only going to be using a little bit of flux. I'm going to use a tiny bit of flux for every one of these pieces just to keep that moisture level down. I mean, regardless, we have to wash them with warm soapy water, but when you can't really get a specific answer, or there are so many conflicting opinions on what causes it in the first place, it's just a gamble. So I'm just going to use a little bit of flux and tin each one of these edges. Alrighty, so I finished tinning all of these edges on every single piece all the way around. Now we need to wash these off, get them nice and clean. So I'm gonna take them to the sink, use a lot of soapy, warm water, and then dry them off as best as I possibly can. I don't wanna see any moisture left absolutely anywhere. Alrighty guys, so I've got all of my pieces perfectly washed and dried as best as possible. Now comes the tricky part. So all of our edges have been tinned. Now is when we're gonna start tacking everything together and try to start building that star shape. Now, what's tricky is that they don't really explain how you keep it even. So it says assemble 4 of the smaller triangles into a pyramid and tack solder together. Repeat with the remaining triangles to make another 4 small pyramids into 1 large pyramid. Once all the triangles are tack soldered in position, hold one of the pyramids on its side and carefully run more solder down all the seams and repeat with the rest. So it doesn't really explain to us how we're supposed to hold these and know where exactly they're supposed to sit. Because if you hold it too inward, like this, if they're touching on the edges and you hold it too inward, all 4 is not gonna fit. If you hold it too far outward, all 4 is not gonna fit. So we kind of just have to hold these together. I'm assuming we want our edges to sit just like this. Now, you could build some sort of rig to help do this, but it doesn't really work with a shape like this and with so many. So that's tricky. We're just gonna have to kind of go and see what works best. This is how they say to do it, and the whole point of this series is to follow this book, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna have to just guess kind of where to hold it, and like I said, I think we're just gonna have to kind of hold it on the very edges, and since it's 4, each one should be kind of at a 90-degree angle, right? So we want these corners to build a 90-degree angle like that. Maybe we can use a corner here like this to kind of help us. So I've just got it up against the very corner of my soldering mat here to try to help me visualize what that's gonna look like. I think that might be the ticket, you guys. So holding it up against another 90-degree angle. So I got this one done. Let me do the same thing with the other one and see if it fits. I mean, I guess that's it. That's gonna be as good as it's gonna get. So these aren't gonna sit perfectly. Let me tack these all in place and then I'm gonna lift it up and show you guys what I'm seeing. All right, so here's what we're working with. Do you see the little gap in between these 2 pieces? So that's what we're looking for. Getting it to sit edge to edge like that is exactly how to get that 90-degree angle. Now do what I did if you need to. That made it a whole lot easier, using the 90-degree corner of this mat to kind of brace those pieces of glass up against. So I'm gonna keep doing that for all of the rest of these. And I'm gonna do just 2 at a time, holding it up against the corner of this wood. They're both flat on the ground, and I'm just gonna tack them in place like that. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to attack this, you guys. Finding something that's a 90-degree angle, even using the corner of that instructional book would work, just until you tack those pieces of glass together. Alrighty guys, so we have all of our pyramids fully put together. Now what we have to do is just go back in and fill in these gaps in all of the seams. So we're going to build up the bead on all of the seams, then we can start putting this thing together. Alrighty guys, now comes the really tricky part. Figuring out how we put all of these triangles together now. So in the directions, it says place 2 of the small pyramids at right angles, propping them up on pencils or pens so that the top edges are horizontal. Apply flux and solder together. Apply the larger pyramid and solder in position. And then add a 3rd small pyramid to complete the square opening in the center of the star. But it doesn't tell us, how do we get a friggin' perfect 90-degree angle right there? This is the same problem we were having earlier where it's just trial and error, which I guess is a lot of stained glass anyway. All right, so I'm just going to very lightly tack some edges together just so I can get a general idea if I'm in the right direction before I heavily tack them together and then have to take it apart or something. Yeah, see, I can tell already that's not a 90-degree angle. This one's too far out. I'm gonna melt that apart and try again. All right. Now let's see, does this last piece fit? I mean, hey, it kind of fits, guys. We're on to something here. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, of course my camera battery's dying. Hold on. Alrighty, battery's changed and we're on the right track here, guys. This is fitting pretty good. All right. Look at that, you guys. I didn't tack any of the back sides yet, so I'm gonna do that now. All right, wow, guys, this star is going to be kind of friggin' huge. This is gonna be a heavy boy. Alrighty, moment of truth here. Wow, guys, it fits. How cool does that look already? Ah! Oh my God. Okay, we're almost done. So let's tack all these in place and finish soldering those edges so we can look at the final reveal. When I just screamed, I sounded like Maroon 5. Alana! You guys know what I'm talking about? Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. I sounded just like them. Wow, guys, look at that. This is coming together. Okay, so before I put that last point on, I'm going to fully solder all of these edges together. Alrighty, so we've just got our last point left to put on, you guys. This is crazy. This thing looks so cool so far. Alright, so same thing here, guys. I'm just going to finish soldering all of these edges. Then I'm going to take a damp face cloth, wipe this bad boy down. I'm not going to stick this underneath any type of heavy water. I'm just going to use a damp face cloth. I could knock somebody out with this. Ooh, I probably shouldn't say that. I don't mean that. You know, I'm just, never mind. Okay, sorry. I need to put a giant jump loop at the top of this, something that's gonna hold this amount of weight. So you guys, this is freaking heavy. Can't just put a tiny ass 8mm jump ring on the top of it. We need a heavy duty jump ring. So I'm gonna grab one of those, put it on. Then I'm going to wipe this baby down with a damp face cloth, and then I will show you guys the final result. Guys, this fucker is huge. This is so big. I mean, I don't know why it's like a surprise to me. I built the damn thing, but this is humongous. This is so cool. I'm into it, you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? I am definitely pleasantly surprised. And obviously I patinaed it. I'm so sorry, guys. I just cannot stand silver solder for some reason. It drives me up a wall, so I just quickly patinaed it black per usual and added a cute little black hook on the top. Of course, you could do a nice heavy duty chain, but I figured this kind of looks cool with the star. Keeps it super simple, right? And I know that this hook is strong enough to hold on to this because, again, you guys, this is heavy. I should weigh it really quick. Should I weigh it and let you guys know how much it weighs? It's 1.5 pounds. That's heavy. That is really heavy, you guys. Yep, that's over 1.5 pounds. That's crazy. That's a big piece, you guys. For a beginner stained glass piece, that's heavy. Overall, I'm super pumped with it. You guys are gonna have to let me know down below, what do you wanna see next? I might do a live stream or something soon, and then we can kind of flip through both of those books together and you guys can let me know what you want to see next. I know the next most requested thing from my last video was that beveled sun catcher. So like I said, I wouldn't do the bevels just because I feel like bevels give off a dated look. Now that's just me personally, so please don't be offended. If you like bevels, absolutely use them if you want to, but of course we can just cut out those same teardrop shapes out of any glass that we want to use. And again, it was that beveled sun catcher, and then the middle they hung a little teardrop rainbow reflecting sun catcher. It's hard because this is a sun catcher, but so is something else that actually reflects rainbows everywhere when the sun hits it. So they had one of those in the center. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my last video. Again, I might do a live or something soon. That way it's easier for you guys to let me know what you want to see next. I think that's it for today's video. So yeah, I patinaed it, obviously washed it again, and I'm super happy with it. I think I could give it another good scrub, but this is mirror, so you gotta be careful. I might just do a damp face cloth just to get rid of a couple more fingerprints that kind of stuck around, but I'll show you guys a little bit more close-ups at the end of this video of what this thing looks like, maybe in the sunlight tomorrow morning, but I love it. I'm super happy with it. So that being said, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought down below. Let me know what you want to see next. I am going stained glass shopping tomorrow, so that will be my next video, stained glass shopping, and then the stained glass haul from that shopping trip. So we've got some time to pick out what we want to make together next. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you did, and I will see you next time. Bye.